First time on any stage, anywhere, Kim De Cruz!
Wow, good evening everyone. How good is Ben? Yeah, give it a woohoo for the Ben. Woo! I am a Frankston girl. I spent, Yes, you better hide your wallet. I spent 17 years making the best of a bad situation growing up in Frankston. I was 5 when I had my first cigarette. I was 12 when I drank my first cask of wine. And on my 17th birthday, my mum came to me with her glass of cask wine in her hand. And I think at that stage she was on her 4th litre. And she said to me, she said, son. Frank's locked it. You're right. It's all good. Okay. She came to me and she said, son, I think it's time you left Frankston, because most people at your age are on their 2nd child. Yes, I love my mum. I come from a long line of inbred alcoholics. My mum was one of 13 inbred siblings. We were a big family from a small gene pool. And my nan knew she was done after the 13th child because she kept tripping over her labia. It's all right, me. It's all right. I'm good. I've got this. And those 13 inbred siblings went on to have about 75 kids between them. And that breeding process started about 50 years ago. And I am now related to everyone in Frankston. And I find it really hard to pick up these days because I'm worried I might wake up next to a cousin. And whenever I'm on Tinder, I find myself cross-checking the DNA matches with Ancestry.com. And speaking of low-income bogans, I ended up marrying one. And my mum welcomed him into the family by sleeping with him. So did my dad. But as a good husband, he took it like a man, and he cocked it on the chin. Thank you. And anyway, I ended up procreating with my husband, and as a result, I got 2 teenagers now. And Dazza, he's 17. And Shaz, she's just clicked over 16. And they have about as much love for each other as Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. And is it Frank? Frank. Lovely to meet you, Frank. My name's Kim. How are you? You enjoying the night tonight? Really? Oh, good. How are you liking me? Lovely. Okay. We probably should engage with everyone else because I'd love to talk to you, but we'll talk afterwards, shall we? Cool. Just on a scale, Frank, of 1 to sorry, before I start that bit there, you have children? Obviously, Mia is your child. You know that, don't you? Yeah. She's too good looking for you. She looks like Kendall Jenner, or there's some sort of a Jenner, Kim Kardashian. Okay, anyway, let's leave that one. Next one. Back to you, Frank. You have had teenagers. And when your teenagers were teenagers, on a scale of 1 to stupid, how stupid were yours?
Not as stupid as me.
Not as stupid as you. Okay. Well, mine, on a scale of 1 to stupid, like reached the far end of the extreme end of category 5. They were just fucking stupid. My teenagers were about as useful as one chopstick when you needed to use it for a soup. Yeah. And they're about as intelligent as an iPhone. And iPhones can be intelligent, but if you took an iPhone out of a teenager's hand and replaced it with a brick, they'd be stupid. Yes. So anyway, my teenagers had about as much love for each other as Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. And I was like the Australian Defence Force. I had to put in a few hours of peacekeeping throughout the days. And I'd have to say that when you give birth to teenagers, they say that that's quite a traumatic experience. But you should try living with teenagers because they're fucking terrible. I'd rather have a pap smear any day. And I'm glad to say that my obligation to my teenagers is almost over. It reminds me of the last trimester of pregnancy. I really can't wait for them to get out. I have now just recently become single. After 21 years of marriage, I joined the majority of society and decided to get a divorce. Woo. Yes. Yes, and some people say that getting a divorce is like taking it up the arse. It can be quite painful, but I didn't mind it. I'm only joking. I'm sure it would have been more painful for him. But he took it like a man. Yeah. I had a fairly challenging year last year. My tits started sagging. I know. It's a terrible thing. I came to the realisation that I live with teenagers. And now I'm doing stand-up comedy. Hey, thank you. I'm hoping it's going to get better. No, the reason I got into stand-up comedy was because of a psychic I went to see. Craig was his name. And among many useless things Craig had said to me, it's a long story short. One thing was, you're not as funny as you think you are. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he turned out to be a fucking waste of money, didn't he? Yeah. Anyway, fuck you, Craig. No, he's not actually. Anyway, I think my time's up. Either way, I'm done anyway, so. Good night, everyone. You've been great.